This segment is all about selling your business in today's economy. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and the segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Andrew Cunningham. He's the founder of Laundromats Unfiltered. Andrew, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Andrew, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically the types of clients that you specialize in helping.
Well, I specialize in the sale and the operational aspects of coin-operated laundromats throughout the United States. I've been doing this for approximately 38 years, and it's the only thing I really ever done. I help people purchase them, I help people sell them, and I actually help people operate them.
Excellent. So these owners are great at growth, but how much time do they really put into the thought of selling it? Do they know where to start when they reach out to you?
Interesting you should bring that up. I always tell a buyer that as I put them into a laundromat that they are preparing the day that they buy a laundromat is to the day they're starting to sell it. That means the books, the records, how to present your business, and how to get it set up so that if you do eventually sell it, it will be an easier sell for you because you'll have all the data and the information available. When I talk with sellers and they say, geez, I want to sell my laundromat, I think it's worth this or I think it's worth that, I always remind them, first of all, you're a first-time seller, most of them. And so they don't know how to behave. They don't know how to act, and they don't know what they really need in order for them to sell their business. And so part of my job is to be a mentor for both buyers and sellers to say, here's what you need in order to get into this, or here's what you need in order to sell this.
To that point, how much time do you suggest a seller take to prepare their business to sale? And can you kind of give us a broad overview on what are the kind of things they need to prepare?
Well, in my aspect of besides a profit and loss statement, I want to see utility bills. I want to know the age of the equipment. I want to know the brand and how old it is. And it will probably take a seller if they've never done this before. In other words, they've never collected the data. It'll probably take them a good, I don't know, 6 to 10 hours to properly get all their books ducks in the line row so that when they meet with me, the first time I meet with somebody, I don't ask for anything. I ask them why they're selling, what they want to do, what their accomplishments are, what are they going to do afterwards. And I try to help formulate a plan at that point in time going forward.
So it sounds like laundromats are a little more straightforward than some other businesses that could take a year or two to prepare and systemize their business. Is a laundromat really that great of an investment and easy to prepare to sell?
It is. It really is a wonderful business. It's one of the three basics of food, clothing, and shelter. And it's a very, very thriving, good business. They've just now are getting away from coins and they're going to a whole card system. And the card system is allowing multiple ownerships for many stores now because they don't have to collect the quarters and count the quarters. Now it's just automatic deposits into banks. It's really pretty easy.
Right on. When a seller reaches out to you, are they holding any common misconceptions, or are there any myths that float around out there that you keep hearing over and over again about selling a laundromat?
Well, I think that the biggest problem that we're faced with right now is the proper evaluation of the business and what goes into evaluation besides the cash flow. It's the strength or the length of the lease, as well as the age of the equipment, and how much value there is in that, and how you formulate that big package in order to put it up to the public for someone who wants to buy it for that price.
Now, in general, when it comes to selling any kind of business, there's this big kind of sobering statistic that 80%, up to 80% of the businesses that get listed don't sell. How do laundromats stack into that statistic? What percentage of laundromats sell versus go unsold?
Well, I eventually they will sell. I think that the 80-20 rule applies. I think that for the most part, what I see happening is I see that sellers are bite off on a certain price that they believe their business is worth, and they go with the broker that will listen to that point instead of having that broker teach them that the real valuation is X, Y, or Z. And then they put that listing on the market, and then it goes stale after 30, maybe 60 days. And so most of the brokers and most of the hot buyers out there have already seen the listing and said, not interested because it's stale now. They didn't price it right, and it's overpriced, and the seller isn't really motivated to move forward beyond that. And so the original broker is kind of soiled the listing, for lack of a better description. So it's harder to get in there, break it down, and say, okay, now we need to reassess what this really is worth.
Wow, so really great to get it right on the first shot. Andrew, give us a little sneak peek at the buyers out there. How smart are they about buying laundromats, and what are the big kind of things that they look for in choosing a laundromat to purchase?
Well, I think right now the buyers that are coming in are younger. I mean, I've been in it for 38 years. I'm going to say they're probably in their mid 30s, early 40s. Very sophisticated, very tech savvy, are leaning towards the card systems, which will enable them to operate the store with fewer hours in that particular department. They are probably a little bit more sharper when it comes to valuations, understanding that the biggest challenge that we have is properly evaluating the equipment and what it's really worth. Cash flow and leases are all set aside because they're pretty basic. But when it comes to age of the laundromat and the equipment, that's where they start to sharpen their pencils, and it becomes a tough negotiation.
Interesting. Andrew, what inspired you to get into this field and helping laundromat business owners sell their laundromats? How did you get started in this?
Um, the funny story is this: I have a younger brother who's 5 years younger than I am, and he showed up one day driving a Corvette. And I looked at that and I said, "How did you get that Corvette?" And he goes, "Well, I'm selling laundromats and laundromat equipment." And I said, "I think I'm a much better salesman than you are. I think I should get into this business." So he introduced me to the owner of the company. And at the time, I didn't have a broker's license, or I didn't have a salesman's license. And I went to work for a company in Southern California at the age of 28. And I did nothing but survey laundromats for 6 months until I earned my real estate license. And then 2 years later, I got my broker's license. And the rest is pretty much history.
Right on. Before I ask you my last question, in regards to selling a laundromat in today's economy, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is really important to share with laundromat owners looking to sell?
I think that the biggest issue right now is with the way the market is that most of the laundromats that are being sold are not card stores, they're coin stores. And most of the buyers want to convert them. And to convert to a card store is expensive. And I think that the current operating group of individuals that are selling their businesses need to actually look at a bigger picture than just a dollar amount. I know they've been in it for a while, but still a laundromat sells for the valuation of location, lease, equipment, cash flow, those things. And they have forgotten that part of the business.
Right on. So for laundromat owners that could be listening right now, that would love to speak with you, because I'm sure you have a lot of information and can guide them in the right way to selling their laundromats. If they'd like to find you, connect with you, and learn more, how do they reach you?
They can reach me at laundromatsunfiltered.com or www.laundromats-unfiltered.com, or they can reach out to me at area code 310-951-4556. I'd love to chat about laundromats and see if I can help them.
This has been terrific. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to come out and talk with you. And I would like to follow up on that book, because I am trying to write a book right now. So I think that the original ad you had in the beginning was helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. That was Andrew Cunningham, founder of Laundromats Unfiltered. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals can finally get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their practices and their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.